Welcome to another special edition of Litter Media Live. Today we're going to talk about Christmas in Bethlehem. And Christmas in Bethlehem is being put on by Living Water 3CU Church in Kingston. And we have the pastor, Reverend Brad Jones, and also the woman who makes all this happen. We're talking about Vonda Loats with us. We're going to talk more about him in just a moment here on Litter Media. Right after this, from our friends at Pickaway-Ross Career and Technology Center Adult Education.
Find a career you love with Pickaway-Ross Adult Education. Skilled trades careers are in high demand with no signs of slowing down. Pickaway-Ross offers career training programs with expert instructors and hands-on learning tactics to create a variety of opportunities. Visit our website for more information.
Again, another one of our seasonal programs that are going on. This is a first-time venture. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Yes. Brad Jones and also Vonda Loats with us here. We want to talk about this program. We know the purpose behind the program, but let's talk about what people will expect to see.
Okay. Well, when people first arrive to Christmas in Bethlehem, they're going to be greeted by a very festive area. It's going to be set up like Christmas time. We're going to have lights, hot chocolate. I'm going to have some cookies, a little wooden craft for the kids, and of course Santa Claus, so it wouldn't be the same without him.
Right.
When they line up to enter Bethlehem, they're going to be given just a little gold coin. That coin is something that they're going to have to use to pay their tax when they do enter Bethlehem. Mm-hmm. So they'll enter, and at that point, all the lights are off. I mean, there's just, going to be some very subtle, natural candle lighting, and they will have to sign the census when they walk in. They will be paying the tax collector their tax. And then they walk into, it's a very immersive experience where they will have the sights, the sounds, the smells, and even get to taste parts of Bethlehem. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we have well over 50 volunteers to make this happen. It's going to be a marketplace, but it's not your typical marketplace. I mean, they are stepping back in time. We'll have some live animals. They'll get to, taste and talk to the different artisan vendors that are there. These crafters, the people that help put this together, they have done a ton of research on this. So, I mean, when you're stepping back in time, for instance, when you visit the game crafter, not only do you get to kind of spin the dreidel around, but that vendor found out that they didn't have toys back then. They used bones, little bones. So you'll get to see bones. I mean, everyone is unique in their own way.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. The tax payment is something new for me to see that, mm-hmm. but that's what it was back during the census time, right?
That's what it was. And we'll also have some Roman soldiers, and they will be ensuring that everyone pays their tax.
We like the Roman soldiers, right? Where did the idea to go this route come from?
Well, I had been seeing this, something similar down in West Virginia that they do down there. So one day, I think it was last year, my husband and I, we loaded up the pastor and his wife, and we headed down there just to experience it. So we kind of got the idea from them, but decided that we'd bring that back and kind of make that ours, make that our own. So we do it a little bit differently. I mean, we have a prophet that's going to be foretelling the prophecy of this Christ child. We've also added a prisoner. So he's going to be sitting there in jail, but you know what? He's also going to realize the hope that this Christ child has to offer. Our nativity scene is not your typical. It's not Mary and Joseph just sitting looking pretty, next to baby Jesus. Mary will be a mother. She will cradle her child. She will be telling visitors the story of, how the angel came to her and her journey to Bethlehem. So they'll get to experience it all.
Yeah, which it wasn't an easy trip to Bethlehem.
It was not. It was not.
And not an easy arrival either.
Exactly.
Yeah. So will you take us also into seeing baby Jesus, and will you have an older baby Jesus at some point in time, or does it end right there with the manger scene? We're
ending it right there with the manger scene. We're hoping that some of the things can kind of come together. So we have a blacksmith. Mm-hmm. And, back then, even though Jesus was a baby, they crucified their people who did wrong, the sinners. So our blacksmith will be making crucifixion nails that visitors can actually hold and touch. And as they leave, they will pass the nativity scene, but they'll also pass through the nativity scene and the crosses. There will be a huge cross that one of our crafter has made, and he will be also making crosses there. So that way, if people can kind of put those two together in their head as they leave.
Right. And bringing the two, Easter and Christmas, together.
Exactly.
That's incredible. Brad, what was your first impression when you went to West Virginia to see this?
Well, I'm an idea guy.
Yeah.
And so when I saw this, my thought is immediately, how do we do this at home? Mm-hmm. And so the whole car trip back from West Virginia was, Vonda, what do we need to do to make this happen?
Right.
How much is it going to take? How many people can we get? And this has really been a year-long journey. We have visions of taking this further, making it bigger next year. We have a vision of buying land. God's really moving in our church. We're growing. We've outgrown our building. And a ministry like this is a catapult for building a larger, more profound ministry.
Yeah.
And the awesome thing about how all this came about was there's this little park in Kingston, which is where the Bethlehem night is going to be held. And this little park, really nobody knew it was there. I had driven up and down Pickaway Street many a time and never really noticed until one day, early spring, we drove by and I'm like, well, there's a park there. But it was in complete disarray. Everything had grown up. It looked like a jungle.
Kind of like a vacant lot.
Yeah. A family had donated it to the city when the two significant men in the family passed. They donated this place to the town of Kingston. And I immediately thought, let's see if we can adopt the park. So we met with Village Council, and we've done so. We've adopted the park, and we've went in and cleaned it all up. Just a week or so ago, we went in and decorated for Christmas, lights and everything. And so we have a plan with potentially not just doing the city or the Bethlehem night in this park, but when it comes to Easter, we're hoping to do a Tenebrae service in the park. So as people transition out of Bethlehem night and they see the preparation of crosses and the preparation of the nails, that is a pointing forward to what the Christ child came to the world to do.
Yeah, and hopefully that stays with them for the next 3 or 4 months to prepare you for that presentation as well.
Absolutely.
But not only that, perhaps you will find people coming to your church after having visited and seen this display, and who knows what will happen for their lives before Easter.
Right.
So for many people who don't go to church except for Easter and for Christmas, reaching out to them in a fashion like this makes it so much more entertaining, I think, but also rewarding, because if they get the message, man, you've done what you needed to do. Would you agree with that?
I totally agree with that.
Yeah. This will take place from 6 until 9 p.m. Saturday evening.
That's right.
And you mentioned that it's in the Village Park there. Does it have a name, the park?
It does, but it eludes me at this point. It's a Gearhart something or other Memorial Park.
But it's on Pickaway Street?
It's on Pickaway Street, right across from the post office.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
Should be relatively easy to find. Plus, it's got Christmas lighting and everything, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
What has it been like for you to see this come together?
It's been an amazing experience, starting it, like I said, the vision has been there for over a year, probably. Started planning 5 to 6 months ago, the actual, down planning and all the research, I feel like the research was probably one of the most important things to bring this to life. I love seeing, we have a Christmas team, probably around 10 people. And I love seeing their excitement with it. They're like, oh, I found this out, about how they made the oil, or I found this out with, the chicken and the fish. And So, I mean, that part to me is just very rewarding.
And I tell you, putting something like this on, those who are participating, they get immersed in what this is all about, and they want to make it as real as possible. And they find a closer relationship, I think, to what Christ went through.
Mm-hmm. We've got a great bunch of ladies that meet on Tuesday nights. They're our Hands of Hope ladies. And on a typical Tuesday, they get together and they sew like these little neck pillows for folks that are in treatment for cancer in their nursing homes and things like that. Well, when Vonda began this journey with Christmas in Bethlehem, she talked to these ladies, and I tell you, it was amazing to see all of them on a Tuesday night. They made all of the costumes, and, they just didn't take a couple of sheets and cut them in half and slap them together. They've made some really beautiful and intricate costumes. And, for me, it's almost like a prayer shawl. Some of those things that we do as pastors that we pray over to hand to people, there has been so much love and prayer poured into these costumes that the effect that's had on the people that's made them, I know that it's going to have a dramatic effect on those that will experience Bethlehem night.
I recall being in a Passion play back around 2000, 2005, and I portrayed Peter. And to go through where you run to the tomb, and I pass John again to the tomb, I'm in there by myself, and I have to come out with the shroud of Christ. And while I was in there, the Holy Spirit hit me so heavy that I was afraid to come out of the tomb. But when I did, I mean, it was just, I'm tingling right now thinking about it.
Yeah.
But if you get involved with it, man, it just changes your perspective on things, and it puts new life into your personal testimony, I think.
Yep.
What have you seen from the people who have been volunteering and helping? Have they had, like you said, a little more boost to them?
I have. I've definitely seen that. Even from the lady who is going to be the beggar that evening, just to kind of see that sort of excitement, in them. And I mean, like I said, research was the biggest one for this, to really bring them back to the time, because we're bringing them back to the time before we can immerse everyone else in that time. That's just something that you have to do. So it's been amazing seeing everyone and the excitement, and you can see it in them. You not only hear it, but you can see it in the glow in their face.
Yeah. And I know, Brad, you talked about experiencing growth in your church. As a pastor, it's got to be like, man, how you're not a cheerleader.
Oh, yeah.
Because of all the things you're seeing happen.
Yeah, we pastors, we go through our ebbs and flows. And a lot of times the ebbs last a little longer than what we'd like.
Right.
And so for me and where I'm at, this is something new for me to see just the excitement, the buy-in, and I think most importantly, that something that demonstrates the health of a church is the unity that's there. We don't believe in doing programs at our church. Programs are everywhere. There's something for somebody to just have something to do, but there's no meat to it. Our philosophy is that anything that we do in our church, if it's selling food at a yard sale, having a craft bazaar, or more specifically, showing people who Jesus is by doing a Christmas in Bethlehem, it's a ministry. Yeah. We are passionate about people knowing who Christ is and knowing what Christ has done and what Christ can do for them. And to see all of this coming together, to see the people's feedback on Facebook as we advertise this verse has been ringing through my head the last couple of weeks that says, if you will seek, you shall find. And I truly believe that on this Saturday, those who come seeking the Christ child will find him. Yeah. And they will be welcomed into that flock.
That's great. I know that from personal experience, there's nothing like seeing a transformation of a person.
Yeah.
Going from who they were to what Christ wants them to be and what they are. We've always said God's still working on me,
Yeah.
and that's true. But to see it actually play out before you after a person has understood, that light bulb comes on, and it's, as I mentioned on a program here not long ago, if you can get your heart wrapped around it as opposed to your head, because some things don't make sense.
Right.
And it's not logical, so to speak. But when you get your brain out of it and put your heart around it, it changes everything.
Oh, yeah.
It opens that vision.
Absolutely. I think people sometimes try to act too much like Mr. Spock.
Yeah.
Mr. Spock did everything through logic and reason, and emotion skewed the intellect.
Yeah.
And he struggled with that because, he was part human too.
Right.
And we, as all human, we struggle with separating logic from faith and belief.
Yeah. And it's the efforts of folks like yourself that have put together this program to help solidify that.
Yep.
We appreciate that work that you're doing. I can't wait to see. I unfortunately won't be able to be there. Our church dinner is that time. But I can't wait to read what people are saying about your program. It's got to be exciting.
And we're looking forward to it. Even though I'm dressed as a guard, and
So
those
you're
guys.
one of the Romans.
I'm one of the Romans. Well, it only fits naturally because people always are telling me, Pastor, be nice, just be nice. So they put me in one of the, the meanest positions. But
He was the first choice.
You're spiritually humble.
yeah. Well, I can guarantee I won't be nice because I'm the only one wearing a mini skirt
In the
in 20-degree weather. So pay your tax, get
Fortunately,
where
it's
you're
gonna warm
supposed to
up
be.
a little bit anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So do what you're supposed to do so I don't have to send you to the stockade or something.
Precisely. Thank you for coming in. Thanks again for your efforts in putting this together. And I have a feeling this is going to be, again, something we'll talk about next year, the year after, and so on and so forth. So Living Water, Kingston, 3CU, that's where you'll find them. Again, this takes place 6 until 9 p.m. Let me show the program once again here, Christmas in Bethlehem, and it's coming up again this Saturday night. So if you can be there, please do so. Thank you again to the Pickaway-Ross Career and Technology Center Adult Education and to Reverend Brad Jones and also Vonda Loats for helping us with today's special edition of Litter Media Live.